All right, good afternoon. Hello. It is High Priestess Jamila. Hey, 1EQL. Hello. How are ya? All right, I'm about to get me some coffee. Goodness gracious. I'm gonna get me some coffee. How y'all doing on this beautiful Monday? All right. So, I wanted to speak about problems and how to deal with them in a better way of dealing with problems in life, problems that may come up, okay? Problems that may make you angry, problems that might disappoint you, problems, just problems in general in life, and how, as a witch, the wisdom pretty much of the witch, and how you can solve your problems with witchcraft. Now, you don't have to be a witch. You don't have to be a you don't have to learn witchcraft or change your whole life if you're not a witch, or if you don't want to practice every single day or do work for people. How witchcraft can help you deal with common issues based upon your economic, your racial background, whatever those anger issues are, whatever those problems are in life. Learning how to use some of the techniques of witches to not always go to anger. Okay, this is what I want to talk about today. And some people may think of this as like a new age concept. I don't. I believe that they call that healing. Okay, I believe that that's one of the things that witches have called healing throughout the throughout history of witchcraft. I believe it's called healing and possibly even transmutation. Things in life that come up that might make you angry or upset, and how it is better. Three, hold on. How it is better to use some of the techniques of the craft instead of freaking out. I see people doing this all the time. Things that may make you upset, problems in life. Um, how it's better to use witchcraft to deal with those problems instead of getting angry at the world, taking it out on other people that may not deserve it. You know, the answer lies within the craft, in my opinion. It really does. There are some people that have a lot of problems in life, or sometimes you just may have a problem that comes up. How do you deal with it? How do you deal with that issue? Do you deal with that issue by getting angry and lashing out at people? No, in my opinion, you don't. Okay. There's not ever in the past 8 years, 9 years, that I have actually been applying some kind of esoteric knowledge to my life that has not been resolved with witchcraft. Not one. Not one. Witchcraft can pretty much assist you with most of your problems that you may have that come up in life. And I think that there are some people that they kind of look at witches as these angry and sinister people, and we're actually not. I think that anger and resentment is self-harm. So, and even if other people are being affected, even if you're angry about something and you're lashing out at other people, you're still committing self-harm, because in order for you to lash out at a person, that anger has to come from within you. And it's a problem that you have that simply needs to be solved. But how do you solve it? How do you resolve it? Do you resolve it by getting angry and making your blood pressure go all up and blood vessels popping out of your head? No, that is not the way to deal with things. It's not, because it's never going to resolve your issue. It isn't. It's one of those things that I see a lot of people doing is projecting. They project their own personal emotions to other people instead of taking that emotion and transmuting it. I'm sort of talking to you guys about transmutation. This is a connection with the divine that a lot of people have either lost or have been disconnected from. And I do believe that it is related to the crown chakra. Yes, I do. Um, and how much hair you have on your head that's not a clue in that. It's not relatable. Although I have a very thick head of hair, okay? I have a very thick and very healthy head of hair, okay? Always have. That's not the clue. It's not. It's how you deal with issues. It's how you resolve your adversity, the things that may happen in your life that you don't like. Lashing out at people, getting angry is not going to resolve the issue. It's not. In fact, it can cause even more issues in your life. In fact, this is why people enjoy trying to make you angry, because when you're angry, you become confused. And when you become confused, this is when you become stagnant. Become stagnant, okay? That stagnation kicks in. It is a form of self-control that I believe, in my humble opinion, I believe that most people don't ever figure out. Just don't figure this out. This is something that um this is something that many people have no clue about. So most people, when they get bad news, They lash out, they get angry, right? In fact, more than likely, if you are dealing with an abusive situation with a spouse or a significant other that has anger issues, that's the first thing they're gonna do is lash out in anger. Children that have to deal with abusive parents, it's typically the parent being angry. Okay, parents taking their anger out on their children. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm a mother. I mean, I've raised 4 children, still raising one. Okay, and yeah, there may be times where you know your kids may do something to make you mad. You know what I'm saying? But you don't lash out at them. Okay. Um, just because they make you angry. I don't believe in that. I've never done that. However, I have been pushed to the limit. Now, I don't take out my anger on other people. I don't. So I for damn sure don't take it out on my children. Ever. But what I can tell you is that people typically get angry about things that matter to them. Okay. It matters to you. That's why you're angry. Right? Very angry, and you don't exactly know how to fix that issue. I'm gonna give you guys an example. I'm trying to think of an example. Let's say that your neighbor decides that one of your trees have overgrown and is now encroaching their property, and they want you to cut the tree. And let's say that you already are having financial struggles. You don't have the money to cut that tree. But let's say that you have a neighbor that, they just can't stop thinking about the fear of this tree falling on their roof. I mean, that's a serious concern. That's something that every homeowner probably has to look at and be responsible for. If there's a tree growing on your land that is encroaching your neighbor's house, and there's these big branches that are possibly getting ready to at some point break off and hit their house and damage their roof and cause problems in their home. They're like, okay, I'm going to take you to court. And let's say that you are a person that is used to getting angry about things instead of actually resolving them. Right? Let's say that on top of that court date that you have coming up, you also have bills piling up, credit cards that are due, and now you have a neighbor that is suing you. Now, obviously, anger can come in different forms. There are some people that will have that buildup of anger and stress in their heart, in their stomach, right? And you'll have that anger, and you're calm about it, but you're still angry. I've seen a lot of people, and you wouldn't believe it. I have seen a lot of very, very, very angry and distraught people stay calm. So just because you're calm doesn't mean that you're not angry about the situation. Okay. And you feel that anger, but you're able to remain calm, but the problem is still there, and you don't really know how to resolve it. You don't really know what to do. Your bills are piling up, your mortgage is due. Now you got a neighbor. Now, a lot of people would say, well, maybe that person is cursed. Not always. Maybe it could be a lesson that needs to be learned. Maybe it is a test. Maybe it is a situation to where spirit, okay, is trying to teach you something. I mean, it possibly could be a curse if you got that many problems. Okay, it's a possibility. So what do? Do you get angry, and you go on your neighbor's property and you threaten everybody in their house? No, you don't do that because then you just look stupid, in my opinion. Okay, you're not supposed to mistreat your neighbors. Okay, you go and you curse your neighbors out. You cursing everybody out. You're frustrated. You're angry. You're mad. You got anxiety. And guess what? You just made your problem worse. Whereas if you knew any of it, if you knew witchcraft, first of all, if you were a witch, the way a witch is going to handle that situation. As a witch, how would you handle that situation? Hmm? Would you curse your neighbor? No. I can already tell you no. Because your neighbor is within their rights. Okay. Regardless to even if there's a spiritual or other battle with that neighbor, if there's a tree encumbering your neighbor's house that's coming from your land, it has to get cut. You have to get those limbs cut. Okay, now that is probably going to be a part of every state law. There's nothing you can do about that unless you're going to change the law. And that ain't changing because I've seen what trees can do to people's property. And then also, they can bring rodents into the house because rodents will travel along the trees and they will get in your house and start procreating. Okay. So that's something you can't fight. You can't fight that. They are within their rights. Okay. So you don't go and curse your neighbor. Okay. You don't go and curse other people out. You don't go and take it out on other people. As a witch, what I would do is I would remove financial blockages and I would do spiritual work to bring in some extra money to pay the extra bills. That's what I would do, depending on the situation. There's other options out there, but as a witch, what I do when I have a problem, like this is not even necessarily a part of witchcraft, but I use witchcraft for everything. Everything. Rarely do you see me sitting there praying to anybody. I don't do that. What I would do if I got upset or angry or overwhelmed, first of all, I would take a relaxing bubble bath, okay, or a bath. I would take a bath. I would relax. I would do deep breathing. And deep breathing is not where you take a deep breath in, but it's more so where you need to exhale. I would take the problem, I would seek guidance from my spirit guides, and then I would do the work necessary to bring in the extra money that is needed. If I had no way, I would create a way, is what I would do. Getting angry, lashing out at people is only going to make your problem worse. Because while you're angry, you're not figuring out anything. You're not. And clearly, the problem can be big enough to where you've become self destructive. A lot of people become very self destructive when they have something in their life that's happening that is angering them. They become very self destructive. That's not going to help your situation. Becoming self destructive, burning bridges that you may one day need to cross. Crazy part about it is that a lot of people that have anger issues, guess what? The universe will start to toy with you. When you have an anger problem, the universe will keep throwing things at you. You notice that you got an anger problem? Doesn't it seem like the universe just keep throwing stuff at you over and over again? Right? It's a test. It's pretty much what it is. It's a test. And when you are able to take a situation and turn it around to your advantage and into a positive, that means that you have transmuted the problem. You've turned it around. You've turned a negative into a positive. That's the goal. That will always be the goal, no matter what. Okay. So for me, if something like that happened, the scenario that I just spoke about, if something like that happened and I had projects at the back of my mind that I wanted to do, I would go and focus on those projects. I would put all of that energy into those projects, is what I would do, so that I can bring in the extra money for the bills. Okay. It makes a huge difference versus screaming and yelling at people around you. A lot of times in magic, well, all the time in magic, you have to use your hands. Your hands is what conducts the energy from your body. You can either receive or send out energy with your hands. So right off the bat, if something is happening that is scary, because a lot of times, especially with men, when men are scared, they tend to get angry. Some of them, I've noticed that. It depends on how much of an evolved person they are. But a lot of the times I've noticed that a lot of men, when they get scared, they get angry. Even women. Okay, when you get scared, sometimes that anger kicks in. When you actually have something to do with your hands besides punching people or hitting people, you go and you say, you know what? Hmm, that project that I said that I was going to do, that required for me to create something, I'm going to do it. Guess what will happen when you start using that knowledge versus how you've been doing it? Because how you've been doing it clearly is not working, because it's always something, isn't it? It's always some kind of problem that you have. Yeah, the universe is conspiring against you to do better. The universe is conspiring against you to step up your game. Then after that, your problems simply become challenges. Now, you don't want to have too many challenges. I think that if you have way too many challenges, you may be dealing with some negative energy or a negative spirit. Okay. But if you're able to take and apply that knowledge to your life is going to start getting better. Your health is going to start getting better. Because I can promise you that if you are an angry person and every problem that you have, you turn to anger, you turn to lashing out at people, you're going to have some problems. You're going to have some heart problems. You're going to have headaches. You're going to have gas and all kind of stuff in your body, all kind of pains and aches and back pain and irritation, and then you're not enjoying life. I have seen people with problems, and they will stay in those problems, and I think this is what produces the psychoses that people are in. I think that most psychoses are triggered by anger. I do. By some kind of disappointment. Then you go into this angry psychosis and then you're not in control. You're not. I've seen people stay this way for months and it takes the issue longer to even resolve. The best thing that you can ever do is look at self. Now, if you got a bunch of folks attacking you, like if you got people, I'm going to tell y'all something. If you just sit there by yourself and nobody's attacking you, nobody's saying anything weird to you, and I'm talking about actually attacking you, okay? I'm talking about somebody that genuinely is just attacking you that you don't trust. And you sit there, nobody's doing anything to you, your mind is clear, right? But you still got these problems. Then it's time to look at yourself. Because I've done it. I've done it to people that didn't even know it. I've taken all of their curses. I've taken all of their demons. I've taken all of their bad spirits. And I've put them, even their health problems, and I've put them into the void, never to be seen again. I've done it. And I've sat there and I've watched those people still not know how to deal with their problems. Now it's time to look at you. Now it's time to look at yourself. Nobody is attacking you. Nobody can attack you because I've covered you. That's when it's time to look at self and say, maybe there is a better way of dealing with my problems other than going straight to anger. And really, I mean, what does a child do when they don't get their way? They get angry. They do. They get angry. The universe is constantly conspiring for you to grow up. I've seen grown people have temper tantrums. I mean, of course, if you're dealing with a problem, of course, every now and then you're gonna have your breaking punch where you're just gonna be like, "Oh my God!" But if that's where you go every single day, every time something happens, every time you are faced with diversity or adversity, and that's the first place that you go, you have a problem that you need to handle within yourself. If people are easily able to make you angry to where you're just fuming with anger and, oh, I'm just in a rage all the time. You need to work on yourself. The problem, obviously, is not those people, it's you. It's you. Okay. And that's with whatever situation, because at the end of the day, if you're an angry person that lashes out, you're hurting yourself first before you hurt anybody else. Because most people, um, I'm gonna tell y'all something. It's a lot of people out there that they have basic protection. It's a lot of people that have crystal grids in their house. They got meditation temples and altars. You thought that you were taking your anger out on other people, but actually you weren't. You were harming yourself. You're committing self harm when you don't know how to resolve your own issues. Okay, these are issues that, I mean, even with the mundane, a lot of people, for some reason, they can't integrate their knowledge of spirituality and the craft with everyday mundane things, which you should. You should integrate them, because witchcraft and magic, which I believe are two different things, but they're very similar and very related. But I believe that witchcraft can assist you with those everyday problems that you may have. And a lot of people, for some reason, have forgotten to integrate it. You're supposed to merge those things. What's the point in practicing witchcraft when you can't use it to make your mundane life better? In fact, that's why we use it. That's why we practice witchcraft, for the mundane things, for the everyday problems that people have. Whether or not it's doing a tiny ritual or whether or not it's doing a big ceremony. For example, the lemon and rock salt spell that I did, it wasn't even really a spell. It was more so a clearing ritual. That ritual is very, very, very useful. People are so used to dealing with their problems the wrong way because all that's going to do is give you a headache and make you feel sick inside, and make you feel all tight and pressed. You're not going to make your life better. You're not. In fact, you're just making things worse. I believe that spirit is constantly giving people an opportunity by creating those obstacles to learn how to be a better person, to be a better version of you. But a lot of people don't take it because they're so afraid. In fact, there are a lot of videos and a lot of people preaching and telling you, well, you can't do this because this is of the devil. So they'll tell you, you can't take a crystal and put it on your forehead to help you think clearer and to help you think. You can't do that because that is of the devil. Oh, you shouldn't be meditating. That's of the devil. So everybody is just supposed to scream and yell and throw a temper tantrum like a child. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And then we're all supposed to go to violence. We're all supposed to just violently hurt each other. Right. We're supposed to verbally abuse each other. That's it. There's no other way of resolving the issue. Because most of the people, I'm gonna tell y'all something. Most of the people that don't like you, most of the people that have a problem with you, it is either because of it's because of their aggression, Even if it's passive aggressive, and oh my God, I can't stand passive aggressive people. I don't like it when people are constantly passive aggressive, because I can tell that they have that aggression within themselves for their own lives, but they want to take it out on other people. I don't like that. And they think they're clever, but in reality there is a storm brewing inside of them that is eventually going to destroy them. Sure, they're going to lash out at you. They're going to lash out in some kind of way, but they're still not going to they're not going to resolve their problem. Because you ever hear the saying, what goes around comes around? When people lash out and they think they're directing it towards you, you know what that energy does? It goes around in a circle and it comes right on back to the original person. Every single time it comes right back to you. And a lot of people have found themselves, for some odd, strange reason, and I think it's because of lack of teaching. They haven't been taught. So many of us, we go to school, and what we learn is how to read, read math and arithmetic of whatever history, but they don't actually teach you how to resolve your issues. They don't, right? So most of the time, people, when they have an issue, they're yelling and screaming and angry at other people, because a lot of your issues, some of your issues genuinely are caused by people cursing you. Now I can tell you that there are a lot of people that are into the craft, and there are a lot of people that will cast spells against you. Okay, they will try to put curses on you. That is a fact. But some of the people that I see and I observe, they are harming themselves, especially those people that are lashing out in anger. Now, energy is energy. Okay, energy is energy. 9 times out of 10, if you, like what I spoke about earlier this morning, if you are dealing with a bunch of negative people, negative things are going to happen. It makes sense. You're putting yourself under this dome of negativity. Yeah, you're not going to ever have anything. You're going to rarely, if ever, have anything positive that happens for you in your life. In fact, more than likely, you don't have a life. That's not life. Okay. But I'm talking about when you are a person that has things going on in your life, you have a life and you have problems, you still may need to learn how to resolve those problems other than lashing out at other people. Because what you're going to do is you're going to end up compounding karma on top of yourself. And I've seen a lot of people do it. I've seen a lot of people do it. They will get angry at people. And I taught my children not to do this either. As soon as, what do you do as soon as you get angry? As soon as you get angry, next thing you know, you're going around, you're telling everybody's business, you're pointing the finger at everybody else, when really what you need to do is you need to look at yourself. You need to look at yourself. You need to ask why. Why is this happening to me? You know why it's happening to you? Because it's time for you to learn how to resolve your issues. Some of y'all are full blown witches. That's a shame when I see that. I see a lot of witches out there trying to fit in, trying to be good little boys and girls. And you can tell they a witch. It's in their bloodline. I can tell if you're a witch. And you have a problem with witchcraft, it's constantly creeping up the back of your mind, and you have a problem with it, and all of the problems are being thrown at you so that you can apply your craft to your life, not lashing out at people, not cursing people. No, no. Yeah, some people do deserve to be cursed. But I'm talking about you have the power right there in your body to resolve those issues, and you refuse to do it. In fact, you look upon witches with disgust because that's all you know how to do when you are a witch yourself, which means that you have a lot of self-hatred. So you hate yourself. Okay? So that anger that you're experiencing, like right now, it's got your blood boiling. You don't feel good. You're probably dizzy. You're worried. You're sitting there worrying and worrying and worrying. That's another thing. Worrying is just as bad as anger. In fact, worrying about something is worse than anger. Whereas if you were to embrace your craft, guess what? You take care of the situation and then you live life. Some people have a problem with that. They become obsessive. Even when they cast a spell or they do a ritual or a rite to resolve the issue, they can't stop thinking about it. They sit and they think and they think and they think when that's not the way that you do it. In fact, sitting there worrying about a spell that you casted will make it take longer. Now, I'm not talking about some of these people that have these fantasy curses of people dying or getting sick. That you sick. You got a sickness inside of you. Okay. If you just want somebody just because you jealous of them or you got a problem, oh, I want this person to die and I want this person to be sad. You don't even know that person, or either you just you just have a lot of self-hatred. Okay, I'm talking about everyday issues that you may have, that instead of you applying your craft to it, you're ready to knock somebody's head off when you should be focusing on resolving the issue, and then waiting for it to manifest. And believe it or not, if you relax, stop worrying. And see, this is not just I've had a few clients that have had that issue. I have. And part of it has been something that needed to do for the client. But still, if you have an anger problem or if you have a problem with being impatient, believe it or not, that energy will actually stop the work from manifesting no matter what I do, until I tell you, hey, now everything ain't meant to be resolved overnight, but some things are time sensitive. Okay, some things need to be resolved within 3 days. Some things need to be resolved within 24 hours. That's different. And if you have an issue that needs to be resolved within 24 hours or 3 days, you're going to have to learn patience real quick. Because it doesn't matter, even if you cast that spell, even if you cast that work or you do that ritual, even if you do it, it's still going to take longer. Okay. It's going to take you a long time to resolve it. And quite often I will come on here and coach people as far as time frame of things happening. Okay, what's the time frame of things happening? Okay, I'm not going to get into that into this live. We'll talk about that later, but it's not going to manifest. And see, some people act like spoiled children. Like I've seen people and they're like, oh, this person is making me feel this type of way and I want them to die. And those spells are not going to manifest. I did a death spell on somebody and I'm mad because it hasn't manifested. And it's like, wow. So you want to change everybody's life in a blink of an eye, and you need to grow up because why don't you just stop thinking about that person? You need to gain control over yourself. And yeah, it is good to take that, when it comes to everyday life, it is good to have that very childlike, aura around yourself to where you're kind of playful and you know what I'm saying, and you just cheerful and jovial. It is good to be in that energy, but there's sometimes those things have no place. Okay, there's some things that you have to seriously focus on transmuting that situation, which is turning it around. But how do you do it? Most people don't know how. Okay. Hello, Shamika. Good afternoon. Most people don't know how to do that. And again, I've said it so many times. Witches actually created a lot of the laws that we have, though, the laws of the land. If somebody is committing a crime against you, witches created those laws that, govern our society. Believe it or not, witches created those laws. Witches are not anarchists, not necessarily. So when it comes to somebody doing something illegal against you, for me, I like to have legal justice on things too, you know. So I don't know where that whole thing came from to where we're just lawless and, because some people do need to learn a lesson. And let's face it, I don't care how many guns you got. You can't just pick up a gun and threaten people with a gun every single time and thinking that people are going to automatically fold for you just because you have a gun. Nah, that ain't going to happen. But really, to be honest with you, if you don't get along with people, just stay away from them. I don't, there's no fantasy place where you can just go and take out all your anger. I think that's what a lot of people think that they be doing. Oh, I'm a very very angry person and I've got this place where I can go and I can just be in a rage and da da da. There's no fantasy place to go where you can do that. You either going to get with the program or nah, one or the other. There's no place for you to go where you can just be angry and say, "Oh, I'm having some anger problems right now and I've got to go and I've got to rage against somebody." There's no place for you to go. The only place for you to go is to learn how to manage your anger. And I believe that witchcraft is a way to do it. Now, if you have an anger problem, to that capacity to where people are afraid of you and they're afraid of you kicking down their front door and assaulting them, and people don't know what you're going to do. I do believe that they have anger management classes, but even all of that was created by witches, because people in general, they a lot of people don't feel comfortable. They're afraid, which is understandable. The fear behind witchcraft, because it's something that you don't know, it's the unknown. And as a witch, I understand that there's a lot of people that don't want to delve into the unknown. They don't want to do it. They're afraid. And that's understandable. I'm an adventurous type of person. I go on an adventure every single day and I don't even have to leave my house. I don't like leaving my house. I like being at home. So, for the time being, I do plan to do some camping. I want to have a RV and do some camping and some traveling later on. Okay. But, here's the thing about it is that connecting with nature is going to be one of the best things that you can do. And see, a lot of people, when they say connect with nature, y'all know that there's some people, they got so much pent up frustration and anger and fear that they can't even go outside and look up at the sky, because if they look up at the sky, it is going to make them feel dizzy and sick and afraid. So stargazing or sun gazing, okay? What is sun gazing? Well, it's not necessarily staring into the sun, even though there's some people believe that it's useful. But I've done it a couple of times and it actually is. It didn't damage my retinas or anything. But sun gaze is when you just look up at the sky during the day. Stargazing is when you look at the sky at night. That's connecting with nature as well. A lot of people don't understand that, because the only thing that people know or hold in their memory is what they've learned in school. That's it. They didn't learn anything else. Now that you're an adult, you have the freedom to teach yourself. You don't get angry at your parents, because what they did was they sent you to school, they went to work, they didn't actually teach you anything about nature. Some of you guys didn't learn it at home. You didn't get it at home. You don't have to get angry at your parents. They took care of business, they kept you alive. Now it's time to go to the next level. Okay. Now, if your parents are trying to stop you from going to that next level as an adult, then that's a different story, which a lot of people complain about that. A lot of people don't like that. A lot of people are dealing with parents that institutionalized them literally. They wanted them to be institutionalized. You wanted to be free in spirit. They institutionalized you because they thought that they were doing the right thing. In the meantime, when you became an adult and you were able to explore these things that started to heal your mind, body, and your spirit, now all of a sudden the parent, and they're older now, they're trying to stop you from doing that. Now that's something that a lot of you guys have to deal with, and I'm not going to speak about that on here. Okay. But that's the reason why you don't know how to deal with your anger issues, because if you are a very angry person, that system, the system, the slave system, is ready to swallow you up. Most people with anger issues, they'll go out there, they'll commit crimes, they'll kill people even, and they end up in jail. And that's it. Now you're serving another purpose as a slave. You make the choice. I decided when I woke up this morning that I'm not letting any angry people make me angry ever again. I'm not doing it because as an empath, I can get angry when other people, even if I've shown the patience of a saint. A lot of people, when they're angry about something, they'll keep driving at you. They'll keep driving at you. They'll keep driving at you. They'll keep saying things to you, keep saying things to you so that they can make you angry as well. Or either they're trying to dump all of their problems on you. So, yeah. And I see it all the time. I sense it around me all the time. You know, I'm gonna be in about another year or so. I'm gonna be moving an hour away uh from here. I'm leaving to go at least an hour and a half away from my current location. And I think it's gonna be good for me and my family because we've dealt with a lot of angry people the past several years. Yeah. And people that are very unevolved, that want to take out all of their anger on other people, and then they'll say, oh well, you're crazy because you're doing those things, and da 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 da. And it's all good, you know what I'm saying? That I'm not the type of person that requires for everybody to understand me. I personally feel like life is too short. I'll be 46 years old this year. If you don't understand me by now, you're never going to understand me. And I'm not trying to force you. Okay. Anyway, I hope that y'all enjoyed this discussion. Make sure that you guys hit that thumbs up. I'd appreciate it. I've been having an algorithm issue on this channel for quite some time, but things are getting better. And it is because I refuse to allow people and their anger into my life. People will try to send anger to you through third parties too. I don't fall for that either. I've seen people that literally act as a conductor for people's angry energy because people don't know what to do with their anger. That's one of the first things that you learn as a witch, is what to do with your anger, if you have any. Now, anger is not the only energy or emotion that can be transmuted. That's not the only one. Inspiration, positivity. Positivity can also be turned into something good. So a lot of people think, oh, yeah, this, and that. My haters keep throwing it at me. I don't want nothing from my haters, not a drop. And that's because that's not how I work. They don't inspire me. They don't. I don't welcome that energy. In fact, that's why I send that energy right back to you. If it's something that's unfamiliar to me or something that doesn't feel right, I don't play around with unfamiliar spirits and energies. Jamila don't do that. And that's another thing that you got to learn. If that stuff is unfamiliar, don't touch it. So I don't manifest with other people's energy. Creates a codependency, which is a weakness, which can exacerbate all of your other weaknesses. So, yeah. You're welcome, Shamika. You're welcome. All right, guys, I got to go. Y'all have a good day. Blessed be.